Hey there. Now, welcome to Owning the Goal, a podcast about not just selling, because success in sales is success in life. I'm your host, Brian McFarland, and today I'm here with three-time guest, Andrew Barbuto, the top sales producer with the great selling book. And he and I, mostly he, are going to teach you as sellers how to make more money, especially going into those fourth quarter. And since we're all selling something, how to stand out in your competitive market, no matter what that is, whether you're selling something or not. So welcome back to the show, Andrew. It's great to see you.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
Oh, fantastic. Well, thank you. We did in our preamble, we want to get right into it. It's Q4 right now, the feet to the fire. We got to set up for 2026. Seems like to me, in my world, I've got 100 competitors and I'm not really sure who they all are. So this is really an episode about moving it forward in that competitive marketplace and what goes on, as you suggested to me. So from your great book, it's on Audible now. So congratulations for that. But, help the listeners how they're going to get through fourth quarter and set themselves up for next year, battling the hundreds of other competitors that there are.
Yeah, so really important topic, right? Especially in a commoditized industry where there are, as you mentioned, many, many competitors, and it has frankly become more important and more difficult to differentiate yourself in today's world where we're mostly remote, so less in person. You have artificial intelligence, which more and more buyers, prospects are using to tell themselves the information instead of going to a salesperson. So there's more resources available than ever before. There's more information easily accessible by our buyers. And also there's just a lot of distractions when you're working remote, right? You don't know if they're actually paying attention to what you're saying or if they're doing work in the background. Most of the time, I would say they're probably doing a lot of work in the back. Yeah. So it's really important to differentiate yourself. And also, if you're meeting with people that are frequently meeting with different vendors, then chances are they're only going to remember like one or two things that you said, if anything. So, right off the bat, I would just say it's critically important to understand truly your value proposition that you offer to buyers that is truly different from anybody else, right? So every company is unique in some way. What is truly genuinely different about you that no one else can say, and why does it matter to buyers and prospects? That's really important, right? It's not just about, okay, we're different for this reason. It's how does this impact my buyers? How does this help them? Why does this matter? So it's important to solidify that value proposition and use that in, all of your conversations, all of your outreach, all of your communication, and it's helpful to have a good understanding of the landscape too.
Yeah, for sure. And I will so triple down with you on this, and that the gentleman Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, he talked about when he gets an email or any sort of communication from anyone, if in one sentence you can't tell him what you are going to do for him, he just deletes the email. So you said it so eloquently right there. And as I'm learning and growing with you, in large part to this really great book, is I am making sure now in my new job that I've thrown thinking about products, prices, anything out when I'm talking to somebody, because all I'm focused on is what can I do for them, which you speak so highly and strongly in your book, because that's all that matters, right? It's either going to make them more money, it's going to get them promoted. That's a big time. We used to run that joke in my office. Like, how can I give someone an idea that's going to get them promoted? Right. So, how do you, I guess there's two elements of distinguishing ourselves, right? Because it's impossible for each and you and I in our worlds to even know exactly how many competitors that we have, right? It's just infinite. So when you look at an account you're heading into the proposal, um, how are you dealing with like building your proposal and really knowing, let's say there's three of you out there that are just as good as you, how are you competing with those guys to try and beat them?
Yeah, and especially if you're competing with larger, more well-known competitors, which we often are, right? And so how do you compete and how do you put together a recommendation, especially when they've never worked with you before? What can you do to help them trust you and choose you over the safer, seemingly safer, maybe even sometimes cheaper option? And for me, I look at it like you as the salesperson are the biggest differentiator that your company has. How you can, there's only so much value that your company and your solution is going to be able to provide, but there's really an unlimited amount of value that you can provide as the salesperson. And you do that by being consultative, by being a strategic resource to them throughout the entire sales process. So, where does that start? It starts literally on day one. I'll give you a quick example to illustrate how you can differentiate yourself from the competition, even if they're more well known or larger. So I going back a couple years, I knew I was competing against the industry leader, the market leader that had a strong brand name that people were very familiar with. They're the safer option. Nobody ever got fired for partnering with them. And so on paper, it seemed like they were the better option. However, what I did was I dug deep into the business of the prospect I was talking to. What was it that actually the reason why they were considering a solution like ours to begin with, right? I took a step back and looked at it from a macro level to understand what was the core objective. And when I uncovered that, I was able to determine that, although sure, if you compare apples to apples, when you're only looking at, in this case, it was a point solution, yeah, perhaps, they may look better on paper. But when you really were understanding what they were trying to accomplish as a business, the point solution wasn't going to be enough that our competitor offered. So what I did was I took it from a strategic business standpoint and said, hey, this is your objective. Your core objective is, is something that can't be accomplished with a point solution. A point solution, in fact, will just make everything a lot more complex. And so our solution is broader than that. We are fully 100% strategically aligned with your objectives. And importantly, we will be the partner that helps take you into the future and accomplish that core objective that you're looking to do, which is more than just the point solution. It is a true strategic partner. And so by digging deeper into the actual business and going below the surface, you can uncover exactly what matters most to your prospects and buyers, and then position yourself as that strategic partner that can help with carrying that out. And so, oftentimes, even though a larger, more well-known competitor may appear to be the safer option, they may not appreciate or respect or give you the type of attention to all of their customers as you might as a smaller company. Their business would probably be more important to you. So it's your job as a salesperson to demonstrate that during the sales process by offering strategic value through the entire process, by being attentive, by being quick to respond, detailed. And there's many things that you can actually offer up, which would put yourself in the driver's seat to actually succeed and beat your competitors. And one quick example would be, hey, if you know that they're analyzing multiple different options, you can be proactive. This is something I've done in the past and said, hey, you know, it's very difficult to compare what are seemingly very similar options. We have a lot of resources internally because we compete against our competitors all the time. So if you'd like, I can help you with crafting a competitive analysis between the different options that you're considering. I'll actually indicate what is different. Where do they beat us in? Where do we separate ourselves? And that can help your champion because ultimately, usually it is not the person that is you're working with regularly. Sometimes it is, but a lot of times it's not, that signs the paperwork at the end. The person you're often working with, your champion, usually has to make this case of why to choose you to somebody else, right? Usually the economic buyer who might be a C-level executive, might be, a VP at a higher, larger organization. So usually the people you're working with during the sales process need to sell to somebody else. So by being a strategic resource, demonstrating your value during the sales process, you can put yourself in a position to differentiate yourself versus the competition and create enough value, which shows that you're going to be a great partner to work with, and they're going to want to work with you, um, just for that reason, because they want to have somebody, you're so valuable to them, they would prefer to use you as a partner and continue to use you as a valuable resource versus anybody else that's not going to show them the same amount of strategic support.
Yeah, 100%. Well, so well said. And I will tell you, and I'm sure you're uh, really good about this, but one thing, and not it's a bit of a curve, but not, is I am finding, particularly of late, to help me separate our company out, is that my fastest way in, because I've only been here for 100 days, is to learn from my subject matter experts in my organization. So I have got strategists, data people, people far smarter than me, who are super passionate and actually great on a call. So I feel like I'm in, to your point of how do you, it's like, well, whether I'm big or small, I'm going to roll out the barrel as if they have 4 or 5 people working on this for them that have their best interest at mind. And also it gears us down, right? Because you and I walk in the room, it's clear who the seller is on your team, right? So the client has a certain tune to a seller versus a non-seller. This has been something I found my whole career. So one thing I think for a salesperson thinking outside of our audience is to think about, how do you position yourself within a team of people that is now enveloping that client's business, and you're the MC now, right? You're not pushing for the money. You're showing more of the value first. Here's the people that will work on your account. Here's the ideas we're going to put into case for your account. And Andrew handles all the communication in between, um, I'm finding people really enjoy that, in the space. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, how do you, how do you get from somebody, I wrote down when I was listening to you, and you were talking about what I thought was brilliant, like positioning yourself. I'd be willing to help you, because you took the words out of my mouth, because I was going to say it's sometimes really tough. I think for the average seller I've seen, to get out of a client who you're up against and what they're thinking about them. So share with people your approach to what is a somewhat very sensitive topic, because I'll close with this. Like, you're never sure if the person you're talking to was college roommates with the rep at ABC company, right? So you have to be very careful. We never speak ill of anyone. That's just silly, right? But especially a competitor. So I guess it's a long-winded question of saying, how do you do the dance, which is get all the information you need and potentially be beating somebody's like college roommate.
Hmm. Yeah. So it depends. I think if it's somebody that you're trying to replace, right, or somebody that you're competing against. Uh, and in both scenarios, uh, re- I mean, frankly, depending on how much conversations you've had, depending on where you're at, if you know specifically that you're in an RFP and they're going against other competitors, right? Um, I would just say, like, listen, I know I'm sure you're evaluating other solutions as well. I'm happy to be a resource as much as I can be. We obviously have a lot of information internally that you may not have available or that may not get provided to you by somebody who's clearly trying to work with you. So if you let me know, who else you're considering, I can share with you some key differentiators of what separates us from them. Maybe give you some insider information that you may not find elsewhere. And then also, when it's a pricing conversation, you could just simply say, listen, like, I know that you are considering other options, and price is going to be a key point in your decision. So if you let me know, what you've received historically and what you might be getting from other partners, understand that, we're going to need to be as competitive as possible. So in order for me to get you as competitive as rate as possible, if you can let me know, like, what are the ranges that you're getting from those solutions, I'll do the best I possibly can to come in and let my internal team know that like this is where we're going to need to be at. It may not be exactly, we may not be the cheapest solution, but if you let me know what else you're getting from other partners, I'll do the best I possibly can to come in as competitively as possible. So that's a
Okay.
win-win.
Can you role play with me for 1 second? Because I'm going to fire back to you what I am told almost every time I hear what you say.
Yeah.
So I'm curious as to what you say back. Audience, this is not rehearsed. All right. So Andrew just finished his thread and said, basically, I want to know how much you're paying everybody else. Here's the number one response I have gotten for 40 years of my career. I unfortunately can't provide that information. What I expect of you is to come with your best offer.
Yeah. And I would say, totally understand that. Right. And I want to get you the best possible price. So two things. One, if you are able to provide like any historicals, that will help me with shaping our price. It's all customized. And so, what I would say is this: number one, like if you have any historical pricing you could share, just to give me an understanding of like what your expectations are. I'll do the best I possibly can to get you the best price. And the other thing is I get that, like at the end of the day, it, you're evaluating other solutions. You're looking to get the best price possible for your company, and I'm trying to do the same thing for you as well. And so what would be helpful for me, right? Because frankly, your your price that I get for you is most likely going to come in below our standard pricing, right? So to give me an understanding of how far I need to go below our standard pricing, if you can give me an understanding of like expectations and what you're seeing from some of the other partners, then I will do my best, right? I will run it up the ladder to see, and let them know, hey, this is where we need to be at. That's going to be my best chance to get you the best possible price. So if there's any information you could share around that, that would be super helpful.
Okay. All right. Here's what I'm paying everyone else. You got me. But yeah, I welcome because I'm sure you've heard that too, right? Not everybody just offers it up, and you just have to go another round. And that's what I would say is one of your finest traits is being persistent, but not annoyingly so, right? And we know that's the truth, right? Because of some sales reps can try and do what you just did, and they're annoying.
Yeah. Well, it's all
And
about why you're
you'll
doing
walk
it.
you.
Like, what are your intentions? And when you comment from a place of like a truly collaborative, when I look at negotiations, I look at it as a collaborative initiative, right? Let's be honest. They're going to try to get the best possible price for their company, right? That's going to help them be as profitable as possible. Your agenda as a salesperson is to get the best possible price for your company, right? It's not a secret. And so let's work together to find a win-win. And I'll do my best to sell internally to get you the best possible price. But in order to do that, there are some things that would be helpful for you to share with me. Because ultimately I want to get you where you need to be. And so that may require some information from your end. But what I'll do for you is I'll get you the best possible price.
Okay, fantastic. And then that and to put the note on that, and then move into more dissemination of strategies. And then I have real question of curiosity about the sales year for you. So now you got all this. You've got tons of information. You're going to come back with the best price. How do you, upon distributing your proposal, knowing it's up against 10 other things, like walk what you feel is the best uh, sort of standard of operation for submission of a proposal, follow up of a proposal, and getting it to close. And I know it's like the step of when we've differentiated ourselves. So I'm going right for the jugular and just saying, we want to win the business.
Yeah. So I think it's all situational. I think what is really important is to understand the realistic likelihood of winning the business and how many people you're actually going up against. Here's a big difference. If, this is a RFP that's going out to 20 different partners, they were already sending out the RFP. You're just one of many, many different options they're considering versus if this is a RFP that you helped with creating, right? Your conversations led them to understand they need to make a change. And so in that scenario, you may be one of, let's say, maybe a handful, two, three, four solutions, because it'd be irresponsible for them not to consider other options. But you will be in the driver's seat if you help with getting to this point and you help with explaining to them why they should make that change, which led to the RFP. So I think that and you'll notice a huge difference in their engagement level throughout the sales process, which will give you all of the information that you need about how realistic this opportunity is or not. You should obviously not spend as much time on an opportunity which you have a 5% chance of winning as something that you have a 50% chance of winning, right? But I'll just speak to you from a process standpoint. In an ideal scenario, let's say we got to the point where we now are at the RFP stage. Now, we help them with coming up to terms with the fact that it's important to make this change. And now they are considering a handful of options, right? So how would I approach it? So number one is try to get them on the phone as much as possible during the process. Now, it's not always going to be easy. And again, you're more likely to get somebody on the phone when you're one of two solutions they're considering versus when you're one of 20 and they are having all of these different vendors that are reaching out to them with tons of questions. But let's say that you think that you have a pretty good shot of winning the business. Try to get them on the phone and say, listen, I want to give you exactly what you're looking for. I want to present a proposal that aligns with your exact needs. So, in order to do that, could you, and then ask them a few questions? What's important to them? What's most important? What is this going to ultimately be based on with your decision? Right? Who else is going to be involved in this decision process? What is your buying process like? Is this going to come down to price? Is it going to come down to value? What are those key factors that are going to ultimately you're going to make your decision based on? Try to gather as much possible information as you can so that way you can provide a proposal which 100% aligns with their needs, right? Again, everything should be collaborative. It's collaborating when you're negotiating on price. It's also collaborative when you're putting together a proposal for them. The more information they give you, the more you can use to tailor your proposal. Now it's really more of you partnering together on a recommendation as opposed to you just submitting your proposal. Now that's not always going to be an option. So if you can't get them on the phone, try to send over some questions. The more time they invest in your proposal, the better your chance of winning, in my experience. So send them over some questions. Hopefully they'll answer them. If they don't, you may be more close to that 5% category. But the more that they invest in your proposal, the more serious they are, the more likely that you're going to win. Gather as much as you can. Once you're ready to submit your proposal, again, do your best to try to get them on the phone so that way you can present them the proposal directly and you can then make your case. Now, again, that's not always going to be the option, but it's the best in a best scenario. That's how I would approach it is, hey, I'm ready to share with you our recommendation, but there's some nuance. There's a lot of specifics. Let's get on the phone so I can actually walk you through this step by step so that you understand exactly what we're recommending and why. And in case there are other people that you're going to have to get approvals from, you'll feel confident in sharing it with them. And then again, then you go into the negotiation phase and you just kind of work with them throughout the process as much as possible. Always tailoring a solution based on their needs, using as much of their language as possible, providing social proof, providing case studies. It's super important. Providing reviews, offering customer testimonials. If they've never worked with you before, anything that's going to be third party, unbiased is going to help your case, help them build confidence in you. And so that's kind of the approach that I take with proposals is trying to get as much information from them as possible and then using that to tailor a proposal with exactly what they're looking for, trying to make my case over the phone, and doing whatever I can to be a resource for them to help them choose us.
No, that's awesome, man. And it comes right out of Andrew turned me on to many books, but also reading right now The Go-Giver and The Go-Giver Sale, which are just fantastic because it really just is about what can you give somebody. And I think that's really been what today's episode's about. So as we wind down, Andrew, I'm gonna throw you something from the side, and there's a reason for it. So we're gonna next episode we'll talk about the closing, like actually closing the process. But to get to my question, because we won't have enough time to go through that entire process. we're heading into holiday season, right? And so in terms of, because I always took this I still do take this very, very, very importantly. I'm just curious, what are your thoughts on gifting clients and or attending parties and or doing anything around the holidays? So we're assuming we just separate ourselves from competition. We close the deal. It's won. It's either running in December, it's running 2026. How do you approach holiday schmoozing with the clients? I'm basically saying.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the holidays are a great time to show your appreciation for your clients and prospects. Uh, it, I'm all for sending holiday gifts to clients, ones that are not in person. I'm sorry, that are like in a different location that you're not able to travel to. But make sure that when you do, you're writing a personalized note that is specific to that prospect or customer. Anybody can write a generic, print it out, oh, happy holidays from us. But the ones that are actually going to matter more than even what you get them is the handwritten message that says, I really appreciate your collaboration this year for these reasons. You could be specific. That's going to be something that's meaningful, that shows that you thought about them and you're looking at them as more than just a number. You actually care about them as a partner. And then for the people you can get in person, then drop offs are a great time uh, to express your appreciation for their partnership. I have a client here in Hoboken actually, where I always every year I'll do a drop off and I say hello to the whole team and just express my appreciation for them. Catch up a little bit, as much FaceTime as you can get in, the better. And I'll just give you a quick story on something that I did that I think is a good fit for this episode because it talks about how I separated myself. One of my customers offered a luxury chocolate solution, or product, I should say, where you can actually it embeds in the packaging a video, where you can actually we open it up and there's like a tiny screen and you can do a pre-recorded video. It's a pretty unique thing, which I'd never seen before, but they happened to be one of my customers at the time. So it was kind of a kill two birds with one stone. And I actually used their service and recorded videos for a couple of my customers. And they got my message, like, thank you so much for all your partnership this year. Happy holidays. Hope you have a great time. Looking forward to working with you. Whatever. And one of my customers got back to me and said it was the most unique gift they've ever received, and they truly appreciated it because it was different. That's really what it's all about: is do what others aren't doing, and that means going above and beyond. Think outside the box and try to be creative and show that you truly care about them as people. That's what's going to actually make an impact around the holidays and in general, versus just the generic, clearly the marketing team sent it out to them.
Right. Wow. Perfect timing. We're landing the plane before 30 minutes, Andrew. That was just so well spoken. And I hadn't even thrown that at you before. So the perfect takeaway. So, Andrew, thank you so much. What a really valuable episode. Listeners, Top Sales Producer by Andrew. Go on his LinkedIn page, his Facebook page, his Instagram page, his YouTube page. I get daily tips from him and you and getting to know you. The book is a reference guide. You'll see, don't be mad at me, but I'm still in chapter 3. I'm staying there because that's the most important phase of my job right now is pure outreach to secure meetings. So thank you so much for being on as our sales expert number 3, lucky number 3. And what are you off to do this weekend, by the way?
Might do some fall stuff. Might do some pumpkin picking type of stuff.
Some apple picking,
Yeah, finally
pumpkins.
starting to feel like fall.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right. Well, thank you, Andrew, so much. And thanks to our listeners. This has been yet another, hopefully, amazing episode for you of Owning the Goal. It was for me. I know it was for Andrew. And we always aim to learn something and share something so that we can just be go-givers. And we hope this finds you well. Like, subscribe, make comments on the channel. Andrew and I will have another episode coming up in a couple of weeks. If you have any topics you'd like to hear us speak upon, please let us know. You can just leave a comment in the box for either of us. And do check him out and do check out his books. And from there, we say, thank you from owning the goal.
Thanks, Brian.
Should I stay or should I go?